Alright, making another video. It's Piro. I mean, I have to play this shit, and I was just saying, well, I just, yeah, it's insufferable. So just for, whatever, the end, whatever, just play it out, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll just jump through it. We'll see. It just depends on how much just absolute nonsense he speaks. Because we've been over so much of this shit. Some asshole commented on my message board thing, some sort of crap about some great argument he makes somewhere in here. I don't think so. I didn't overlook it. I played a fucking whatever it was video. These are long videos, and they're just not worth it. Because all this shit I've gone over it and over it so many times.
Like enslaving people in other countries. You don't want them over here because we can't compete with them, but we got to, you say. It's
yeah, well, that's not what I said. So, you see, you can't even get any kind of argument because we can't compete with them. I don't want them over here because we can't compete with them. That's a completely nonsensical comment. I'm saying to you overtly, we can't have them over here because we will not behave like the rich people in China. We won't watch people be brutalized every day. The American people are more sophisticated, and they won't just sit here, like they won't sit in their neighborhood and know right over there's a 13-year-old kid in a work camp. We won't live like that anymore. So we can't compete with them. We can't.
Inevitable. We gotta buy the shoes from the sweatshops in Bangladesh. You like doing that.
There. Okay, so that's what you're talking about, the comment that I've somehow said I like doing that. So this asshole who posts this thing and says I said something good, I'm defending child labor in Bangladesh. When I exactly have said exactly the opposite, you fucking little cunt liars. So yeah, I'm blocking your IP, asshole. Because that's just a fucking lie.
Their suffering doesn't matter to you.
Oh, I mean, why am I doing this? This is outrageous conduct.
I don't get that.
Yeah, well, you don't get it. I never said it. I never said anything close to it. I, in fact, can document how I've said exactly the opposite over and over and over again. I don't even think you get that lying piece of scum Quintica to agree that I haven't said it over and over and over again.
He said Hillary did nothing about immigration, to convey immigration. Well, actually she did. She did it in the regular way, these DLC third way demonstrations.
Well, again, I said in the debates. The debates were the thing that were watched by, the most people ever in the history of mankind. And in the debates, when she needed to say something, she had no response in any of the debates to the subject of immigration except to say just about the worst thing she could say, which is, well, you can't. You have to let some million. I can't even paraphrase her, but she said so absolutely nothing.
But people wouldn't listen. People wouldn't believe her. You wouldn't believe her. Instead, you're going, gee, that's an open border.
Well, no, that's exactly. I said exactly what I just said. I said in the debates. I said it in my video. I said it in his room in the debates. So there's no confusion here. Yeah, it doesn't matter if she had something in her platform about building fences. All right, if she doesn't say it in the debate, then nobody knows that's what she believes. And she certainly didn't say it in commercials or in some other thing I saw. I never saw Hillary Clinton say one single thing indicating that she sees any huge problem with immigration. No indication whatsoever.
No, she meant open borders for the businesses, which is what you like. You like
well, again, no, I don't like it. So again, this is another lie. And the truth is, I already know that, Piro. I never was under the misunderstanding when she said open borders in the debate that she was saying open economic but that she wasn't saying open economic borders. I even made a video where I even pointed out to other people that you can't have that misunderstanding. She was talking about open borders economically, not open borders for migration. I even made these arguments in my own videos, asshole. So what are you saying this shit for, you lie? God, you're just such a liar. Doesn't even qualify for what you're doing here. This is just disgusting mischaracterizations. Slanders.
An open border for businesses. You said that. NAFTA was inevitable. All of those were inevitable. Open borders is fine with the business. That's open.
And that's not what I said. I said I was opposed to it. I'm opposed to the fact that we have these things. But for people to think that trade agreements were the problem and that the changing of the world wasn't the problem, that's the part I clearly stated. You're not identifying the problem. NAFTA would not have solved no, NAFTA would not change much of anything in this country. I could go back in time and take NAFTA and pull it out and say it never happened. I would promise you the world would look pretty much exactly the way it looks right now. NAFTA didn't do shit. It's the problem of fucking any rational business going to chase higher profits. And you chase them in other countries with desperate labor. And you want to bring that here.
Border she's talking about, not about people. She said very specifically and on her website, but nobody goes, yeah, she's a bad marketer. But you said she...
No, so again, you're just mischaracterizing a conversation that I explicitly stated my opinion, what I was saying. There's no doubt about it. I did it more than one time. And you're just doing this pointless thing where I'm going to tell you again what was I said that was wrong, that you counter-argued right from that point. I've already counter-argued this 3 times. How many fucking times do I have to say make the same counter-argument over and over again? You lying piece of shit.
Never said anything or conveyed it. She said this in the debates, and she...
No, she didn't. So again, you can go ahead. Show me the clip where she said it in the debates.
Came up in the debates that she wants more fences and blah, 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 but not a wall. She basically, what Trump has said it'll be now. She said that. And on top of that, she was a...
Okay, you just have to show me the clip. I might have missed some of the first debate. Maybe she said something about a fence, but I didn't see anything about addressing the problem of immigration. Again, saying you're going to put up a rickety fence on the border of Mexico doesn't really have to do anything. It doesn't have anything to do with the Syrian immigrants, for sure.
Obama's 3rd term. And I know you know sometimes, but I think when this aphasic dementia, amnesia, where you start forgetting what you're talking about, so it seems to us that you're making up lies about other people so that you don't have to acknowledge their arguments at all, or even their humanity in any way.
Well, like I said, I don't like any of this scum in your room, but I'd love to hear Edible Napalm say that I said what you say I said. I'd love to hear one of the people that were in the room actually testify, verifying that what you're saying is true. Because it's a fucking lie.
Normally, when that's not happening, you probably know that Obama has deported more illegal aliens than W. He's been going gangbusters. And Hillary's...
Yeah, deporting more while you let more in isn't exactly called winning. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not called winning. So we know with under Obama that all those kids came across the border, you know, all that bullshit took place. So let's not play a game.
Reported that.
Isn't that what the numbers were mostly made out of? The re-exportation of all the kids and pregnant women that came across the border in a big mass? So again, this is like going back to Carter when Cuba, you know, emptied its prisons, you know, and sent them all here. I mean, it's really not a fair, you know, go historically. Well, here's a historical statistic. Well, yeah, that statistic doesn't mean anything. That's like saying, how much money did somebody spend on relief for the people? And you count the year where, you know, there were the worst hurricane seasons ever or something. Like, so yeah, so now you can make an argument this, hey, Bush was really generous. But no, really, Bush wasn't generous at all. It's just that there was a whole bunch of hurricanes. That kind of thing, right? You're just a propagandist.
So you're paranoid that, but she should say it's more important. No, she shouldn't, because she's trying not to piss off my wing of the party. But then your wing of the party is so stupid, you vote for Trump.
Right, which, you know, I made videos against Trump. So obviously I was saying to people quite clearly Yeah, Trump's right on immigration, but he's not worth it. Okay, what you're going to pay for in terms of how much damage Trump is going to do to the economy and our social structure is going to be so much worse than the extra immigrants. And he's not going to fix that problem anyway because Republicans want the immigrant labor. Again, let's remember the whole problem of immigration is easily fixed. A few $1,000,000 worth of computers, a reliable Social Security number. We don't have any of those things because they want a broken system. They don't want a system where they can, in 25 seconds, reliably hire a citizen of the United States. They don't want a system that where we can regulate this thing so fucking easily because they don't want it regulated.
Well, maybe I just forgot what your real position was. The things you say about me, it's just, it's equivalent. You have such a low bar. You vote for Trump when I would say that because, by the way, it means that you, because you don't understand.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what this is. This is your, what, joke rationalization for overtly lying about me saying that I supported Trump's election when I made a whole series of videos explaining why this would be the biggest mistake in the history of America? Yeah, just keep lying some more.
Marketed our party wrong.
I'm just informing. I'm just saying, look, the Democratic Party has no future if it's going to cling to the immigrants as a plank, okay? Because it's just not compatible with progress in America or culture in America. It's just doom. And so, yeah, anybody who's smart that's left in the Democratic Party won't be able to tolerate it. So all the people that, all the middle class of the Democratic Party, even and certainly the labor union, just aren't going to be able to find it stomachable.
It's another thing people need to realize. This is not from the notes, sorry, it's the asterisks. Because like I watch Sam Cedar, one of the few things I have time to watch every day.
Yeah, every day you watch a lot of shit, in my opinion. That's why you have shit for brains. And then you watch 2 minutes of other people's videos and comment on them. So why don't you comment to Sam Sneeder and all these other shit and lunatics you fucking find the time for. And, you know, yeah, it's just, fuck you.
Listen to it while I work. You should try it. Working. I
don't even know what that means, but fine. Fuck you too. You should try not to have kids you can't take care of.
That wasn't to you, Gary. I just mean everybody should try working. I know.
Yeah, right. Sure.
I know you work. Take care of it. There's all kinds of stuff. Though you don't work as many hours as me, so I don't have time to go look up what Jesus freaks his daughter specifically.
It's not the point. The point is that you talk about things that you're ill-informed on. Again, I take making my videos, when shit comes out of my mouth, I'm very conscious of the fact that I don't want to say something stupid. I don't want to present evidence that can be debunked easily. And you have a different standard, and I'm saying that different standard is so incredibly a non-standard. You don't have a fucking standard. And that's the problem. You argue from an authority, and your authority sucks.
Medical condition is I didn't need that information. But Sam Cedar's really pissed off the people that are still arguing, like Jimmy Dore, and you know, that this is, you know, it's better than Hillary.
All right, well, I'm going to jump ahead because I really don't give a fuck. Yeah, I really don't.
Actually enact, because you're one of these people who wants to be popular like the Amazing Atheist.
Okay, there, fuck that. You know, you obviously don't know anything about me. If I wanted to do that, I would have monetized my videos decades ago. Actually, a decade ago. I can, you know, I was offered partnership back when partnership meant something. You know, when only certain people got offered partnership. YouTube offered me partnership. So if I wanted just two, then I would have just two. But I didn't, because that wasn't my agenda, fuckhead.
All of your ideas are based on, wait, are people going to think this is crazy? But since I say, yeah, that's a possibility, then you're going to go, I'm against that thing, and I'm the most evil American, and I'm a pantheist that's into human exceptionalism.
Well, the point is that you have some kind of big picture theory that compels you to push in directions that are just totally irrational, like microbes having consciousness and shit. You go in directions where it's quite obvious, to me anyway, that you're doing it because somehow that has to be a fact if your overall silly symbiotic kumbaya bullshit theory has any hope of being reasonable. Because you're really not somebody who has a great deal of respect for evolution, or as a fact, okay, and you want to try to make something special about what humans are doing here besides just being competitive molecules that are fucking each other over.
No, I think all life has inner emotion. Remember, you probably remember now, it's just that during your rant,
yeah, well, again, we've been over this one, too. I mean, I have no interest in talking about with somebody who's an imbecile, okay? I mean, you think you can have consciousness without a brain. That's a religion, in my opinion. Something that there's absolutely not one shred of evidence for, and you're claiming it as a truth. There's not one shred of evidence, and there's a ton of evidence on the other side saying, no, consciousness is limited to brains, and if you just damage brains a tiny bit, you'd fuck the consciousness all to hell, and that's the truth of it. You have to have neurons to be a fucking consciousness.
The microtubules bubble up in your brain, and you're like, man, you're a cunt.
No, I'm like, where do you have any evidence that a microtubule is doing what a neuron is doing? None! Okay, there we go, done.
I don't eat animals because of my pantheistic religion says humans are special and get to do that.
You eat animals. You just, you can't even say anything correctly. You do eat animals. So he says, I don't eat animals. No, you do eat animals.
It's more like, in evolution, animals eat other animals, some of them.
Right, and the animals are ignorant. So let's understand, it's not like you're saying, well, the Martians who have a 385 IQ eat each other, so why can't we? It's not like you're comparing it to something more intelligent. And I could say, well, retards eat their own poo, so should we eat our own poo? I mean, this is just such an infantilely a vacuous argument to make. Oh, well, they're doing it. The dumb, ignorant animals who don't know what they're doing it, so why can't we just act like them? Because we're dumb too, right? I mean, fuck, it's a god. I mean, you're idiot. I mean, you're just an idiot. To use an argument that fucking stupid, they're doing it. The stupid animals are doing it, therefore we should do it.
Humans have been one of those kind of animals, and I was sort of interested.
There is absolutely no evidence that humans have been one of those sort of animals, except if you go back maybe 200 million fucking years. There's all kinds of evidence, biological evidence, physical evidence, that human beings are totally not able to eat raw meat. Or to even catch it. With our huge claws and our, fantastic strength and our magnificent speed. We're predators, no doubt about it. No. I mean, what a fucking joke. We're leaf grazers.
Just do it that way. Something we can outgrow, just like we should outgrow...
yeah, again, it's not something you need to outgrow. It's completely just cultural crap. The stuff it's a fancy food from another country and we're going to love it, love it, love it. Like somehow you were genetically required to do it because you tasted it once and therefore you have to do it over and over again. Absolutely complete crap. There's a ton of things to eat There's no obligation to be a meat eater. There's lots of vitamins you can take if you have some sort of deficiencies you're worried about. So this is all just a big fucking rationalization for your own goddamn lack of concern.
Oh, enslaving people in Bangladesh. I'd rather just let those Bangladeshis over here and pay them on the minimum wage.
Right, pay them $15. He wants a $15 minimum wage. Right, pay them $15 minimum wage to do what? They obviously won't make iPhones, or they won't make sneakers, or they won't make anything that anybody buys in the world. So I don't know exactly what you're going to make with these $15 an hour laborers that you came over here that don't speak the language and don't have any skills. So I don't know exactly what the hell they're going to accomplish here. But I don't think it'll be anything really productive, and I don't think anybody else in America would agree with you. I don't think there's anybody in America who would agree with you on this one.
You want them over there where you can keep them...
No, exactly what I've said 4 million times. I mean, you can just keep lying about what I've said over and over again, but I've said over and over again, this is a world problem. The rich getting rich, everybody else getting poor, and we have to fix it. Okay? There's no, you can't just pretend it doesn't exist. You can't pretend that cheap labor doesn't exist in the world and it's a world economy. So until you're going to put your fucking ships in front of China's borders and sanction China, you're not going to be able to stop it, asshole. Because if we don't invest in China, Germany will invest in China. Somebody else will. So until you're ready to blockade China, you're not going to be able to deal with this problem. And I've argued that the way to deal with it is to try to negotiate with the world in terms of creating a United Nations mandate of certain minimums, and have those minimums on a progressive scale over a 20-year period where they have to grow. And so, yeah, that might be one way to handle the problem. But the balance between the filthy rich and the filthy poor has to be fixed, and nobody's interested in doing that. But I've said it over and over again, you liar.
Suffering. You don't eat animals, but you're basically eating Bangladeshis.
Alright, so is there really any point? So he's totally stating that there's some quote he has of mine where I've supported abusive exploitation labor in the world. He has some information somewhere where I supported that somewhere, where I defended rich people's investments in those countries. I've defended ownership of labor, when I've made arguments exactly the opposite. I don't support anybody owning a business. He's the one that supports people owning businesses. He wants to create businesses where the shareholders get in early, like in Italy, and they own the company forever, and they can pass their shares on to their kids. He's the one who wants the capitalist economy,
which is not okay. Single slit. You brought that shit up, and it's like, you don't focused enough. And you bring up single slit in this video. Oh, good.
Yeah, I was responding to your video, asshole, and the point that you did 14 different subjects. So yeah, I wanted to just throw in one of your other lies. I wanted to refute one of your other lies while I was refuting your lies. So yeah, but that's your bad, not my bad. I make videos that are generally speaking on one subject, unless I'm doing a general subject video that'll have to do with different people and different subjects. So don't try to imply my style is as sloppy as yours, because it's not.
And say, I've never explained the interference lines in a single slit interference. Well, hey, genius, fucking why don't you catch up? Single slit interference has a name. It's called diffraction.
Well, again, I've played the clips of MIT professors and Feynman pointing out, okay, that there's no difference. The patterns are the same. So you want me to play again just to refute you? Just insert the clip here from Professor Lewin, where he does a whole little 30-second spiel on, look, they call this diffraction, but it's exactly the same pattern. Okay, it's an interference on-off pattern. Diffraction is just the word they used in the beginning, and it just doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it's exactly the same pattern in the single and the double slit experiment. That it just has different proportions. Same pattern, same interference pattern. So what? You're going to keep arguing? And regardless of whether you call it diffraction, you still have to explain it, okay? The fact is, it is the same as the interference pattern. That means it has on, off in it. So you still have to explain when there's a single slit, how there's a dark space over there, and then a light space, and then a dark space, and then a light space. So what's your explanation? When there's not two photons interfering with each other, then how the fuck does it happen, jackass?
And the explanation, oh, you could go to the Wikipedia page. I happen to believe the principle of that Huygens-Fresnel principle.
Okay, so there we go. He believes in the principle that's never been seen, absolutely no evidence of it, that contains the idea of an infinite number of little waves being created by a wave front. So a flat wave comes in and turns into a little bunch of little tiny loopy waves. Not just a bunch, an infinite number, because the only way you can make the second wave flat is you'd have to have an infinite number of little curly waves. Because you have to take away their sides. You have to take away the curve of the curve. And the only way you can do that is to create the non-reality of an infinity. And he believes in that principle. That's what kind of good physics he likes. That's the good physics he likes. There's absolutely no evidence for, no evidence that ever took place ever, and it relies on a non-existent physical reality, infinity. Great. You suck at science.
That mathematically, when you have a line of a wave going along, right, and you cut it off with a slit, and then there's the line, every little part of that wave, if it's a water wave, is going up and down, right? So it's going up and down. If just one little drop was going up and down, what would happen? A ripple would go out in a circle from that spot. And the wave front is just as if...
yeah, right. So it goes... Look, this was even... you could read the Wikipedia page on Huygens, and there's a real problem, because if he turns it into a straight wave, just going straight with no curves, well, then it doesn't work in the single slit experiment. And if he turns it into a curved wave, well, as I just pointed out, even if you have an infinite number of curved lines, you still have curved lines. And so with every time the wave replicated itself, the flat wave, the wave would start to deteriorate fundamentally because it's all made out of curved lines.
There's circles going out from all of the spots. And if you do the math, which you had to do in college, if you do the math, you'll see that what happens, the end result of all those overlapping circles, is that the line keeps going straight, except for on the line, there gets to be the band patterns that you see on the side. And it's like, I know you don't agree with that or any real science, but...
Okay, just to understand, he's calling something, like I said, there's no actual evidence that this has anything to do with reality whatsoever. Nothing. It's completely theoretical, and the theory it's dependent on, the existence of infinities, is, for most physics people, a non-starter.
You're saying, I never have answered it, hasn't been answered. I have. I give you a citation.
Okay, well then I'll ask you the simple question then why in the double slit experiment doesn't the Huygens phenomenon cause 4 interference patterns, 4 waves of interference? So why aren't the single slits in the double slit experiment Huygensing?
I've also explained it in videos, but mostly it's the citation, right? If you want me to prove I understand the principle, well, I just told you the basic part that is all that I need to understand for my point to explain to you the interference lines that occur in diffraction, which you call single slit interference.
What an MIT professor, Professor Lewin, calls single-slit interference. Yes.
That's the explanation. There's a mathematical explanation for why propagating waves through a material there's such a thing as diffraction lines. You say that...
Again, you're saying it's a mathematical based on a principle, right? A principle that there's absolutely no evidence that any wave has ever done what you're saying the wave does. So again, what's the point? You're saying the single photons do some special thing in front of themselves to create the next layer of photons somehow. That it's not really a thing moving, it's a thing radiating, and then it reforms in the new location and then it radiates and reforms or some kind of crap like that. But there's no evidence that that's the reality.
I will refuse to answer that, and you will keep saying that. And I've always assumed it's...
Well, again, if you're going to use Huygens, then apply Huygens in the double slit experiment and explain why you don't have twice as much interference.
Because you have a dementia where when you get ranting, you have like a temporary, or maybe it's permanent, amnesia. And you don't remember like who you're talking to, maybe, and you got ideas that really are attached to somebody, but it's a different person, or that.
No, I mean, I made it clear. I would have liked an explanation that didn't rely on a magical fake principle. So yes, you've resorted to Huygens, so you've satisfied the condition that, okay, I said let's hear an explanation that doesn't rely on Huygens. You don't have it, fine, got it. You need a fake principle to make it work, just like dark matter's a fake principle to make their assumptions correct. So they invent something fake to fix their math. You've invented something fake to fix the math. Got it.
Ideas are all floating around with the people, and you do remember you're talking to me, but the ideas can't remember which ideas connect to me, or maybe you just don't know any of those things. And it's many of your words, maybe when you say cunt, you're not even thinking of me at that moment. It's hard to tell. It's something psychotic level of craziness, so I think that's pretty fucking clear. So, I will not apologize for not learning more about Jesus Freak's daughter's condition. I have read your Encyclopedia Dramatica page, though, so if they put it in there.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know. It was an interesting thing, this whole Encyclopedia Dramatica, but now it's like the trolls can't even try to have any integrity at all. I mean, if you go to the page, it's just gonna, it's gonna spam your computer. I mean, it's gonna try to install malware and do all kinds of shit. So I almost like that it's like that, just because it's just such kind of just dessert. I mean, people looking for trash and they get their computer trashed. So that part makes sense. So I like that.
Yeah, you seem to think there's a robot economy and humans don't build things anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Humans don't paint cars anymore. Humans don't do a ton of shit. And there's factories in Germany to prove it, that you cut down from 1,000 employees down to 100 employees. That's the reality, yes. And it's not just robots, but it's all machines that are capable of doing processing work. Circuit boards, for example, and all kinds of stuff like that, all done by machines now.
Building the roads like taking care of a pet now.
Yeah, it's maintenance of infrastructure, which isn't productive. You're not making anything extra. You're just changing the tires on your car. You don't feel like, oh, gee, I got so much accomplished this week when I changed the tires on my car. It's like taking a shower. Yeah, it just isn't really like, this is improving my life in some substantial way. It's just maintenance. Doesn't make your dick bigger.
Maybe you should go take longer walks. That's all I'm saying.
Smoke another cigarette.
Oh, you told me, okay. So, I'm a useless, dangerous moron. See, that kind of thing I'm fine with. You could say that. I mean, I know how to translate that from Gary speaking to English.
You are a useless fucking moron. I think that's the translation. Dangerous.
It's not like those other ones that are just kind of like, come on. You don't need to lie so obviously.
Well, no, you're the one who's lied obviously. You haven't found one circumstance where I have lied obviously at all. You haven't proven anything, demonstrated anything with evidence. You're just a preposterously cheap shot idiot. Jump ahead a little.
The fence is up or something.
That's why I keep saying have another cigarette, because that's the irony. He started smoking late in life, and he's not very good at it. I mean, I smoked 2 packs plus a day I never coughed, ever, from cigarettes.
Okay, excuse me. And yeah, I would, so there are Hoover Dam level things, and I mean, you just don't. I mean, I know people that weld and work in these kinds of projects. They exist, and we don't actually have enough people to have. If we had spent that trip,
Right. So we don't have enough people. This is anyway. I'll just save you the work, right? We know that we're all hugely underemployed. Most people are hugely underemployed. They have to work these silly, stupid, crappy service jobs. You can't even, college degrees can't even get a job. So let's not pretend that we're not already hugely underemployed and that there's all this wonderful labor to do. No, there's only shitty labor to do. There's calling people on the phone and harassing them, trying to steal money from old ladies and stuff, and writing bullshit emails to try to get somebody to think that PayPal needs them to check their password or something. There's only con artists. You can get a job as a con artist, but you can't get a job as much else in this economy anymore. It's a horrible, horrible economy. And eventually it's going to get to your people, and when it does, then all you fucking eggheads will have to get into reality too. But like I said, then it's going to be too late to do anything about it. Fucking asshole. So anyway. I'd be done with you. And such. Yeah.